This is our first design problem. What we want to do is provide a black box diagram that describes or models a camping flashlight. Camping flashlights are pretty high tech these days. It used to be that we used candles because we didn't want to waste our batteries on incandescent bulbs. The LED started coming along, and now there's really high tech LED stuff that essentially it's microcontroller control. Pretty high tech for a flashlight, particularly a camping flashlight. So this camping flashlight, what I'm interested in doing is first is design this thing at a high level. I'm trying to figure out what the inputs and outputs of this flashlight are. So when all else fails, the first step is to draw a box. Camp light. Good enough. So I draw a box and I give it a name. That's step one. Do is kind of read the problem description and see what kind of inputs and outputs it has. So it's typically the problem description is going to give you clues as to what the inputs and outputs of the device. So if you look at this, flashlight has both red and white LEDs. Okay, we'll put that down. So these are outputs. This would be red and white. What else do we have? This has a switch, controlled by a switch and a dial. So these are controls. Typically speaking, controls are going to be inputs. So we'll just put a switch and a dial. Okay, those are inputs. And what else here? And it has batteries. So typically batteries, I'm going to do this a little bit special here. I'm going to put an arrow on both sides, which means I put the batteries in and I can take them out. So this is two-sided arrow indicating it represents both input and output. Batteries, okay, good. That's a really good start. I think I got everything there. So no, I don't really know anything about how these flashlights are designed, but I could probably figure out a little bit by just kind of grinding through this thing. So what I want to interested in is trying to figure out what could be there on a lower level. What I'm thinking is it must have some type of control unit. And so I'll come over here and draw that. A box has a control unit, and I'm going to say it has a battery pack. Looking good. So at that point, what I want to do is kind of include my top level black box diagram on this thing. So this is going to be camp. What I want to do is transfer these outputs here, inputs and outputs, over from this high level diagram to this low level diagram. So I'm going to say the switch and the dial are going to go to this control unit. So when I tweak those controls, it's going to affect the LEDs, and namely, turn one on or the other on. Probably the dial. I didn't really say what that was, but the dial apparently is going to adjust the brightness of the LEDs in such a way that it saves battery life. High-tech camping light. So this is going to be red. And the battery pack, I'm just going to transfer this arrow. I'm going to extend it from the outside of the box to the inside of the box. It's going to go to the battery pack. It's kind of an I/O signal. I'll put another arrow on there. Battery pack, and then I'm going to say battery pack is powering the control unit. The power from the battery pack goes to the control unit, turns LEDs on, and then I'm going to call myself done for this problem. What is important on this problem is the high level signals over here match the high level signals on this other black box diagram here. Now if they didn't match, that would be a problem. So I've got them all matching. I took a guess on what's inside of this. I have no idea what's inside of this, but it looks pretty good. So I put a battery pack in there, put a control unit in there. Certainly you could break this control unit down into finer pieces, but we're not going to go there right now. Essentially there is some internal connections there that I can kind of speculate on too, which is essentially the battery pack is going to power the control unit. I'm going to call it done.